Hello and welcome to the Ballcard Show, the sports podcast.
For the Sports Collector.
I'm Jason Otero.
And I'm Gary LeMaster.
And one of us is far more pale than the other after Gary goes back to back, almost a dynasty, back to back cruises, gone for 2 weeks. You do look nice, bud. You got a nice, you've been kissed by the sun.
Little raccoon action because I had sunglasses on at all times.
Were you wearing Intimidators?
The same glasses I always wear,
Do you have them nearby?
No, I don't have them nearby.
I'm telling you guys, he's channeling Earnhardt. He's channeling Earnhardt with that vibe.
Oh, man. No, I've been wearing those sunglasses for years. Yeah, no, vacation was awesome. Much needed. You yelled at me a couple times because I did a little bit of work, but I don't know how not to. I unplugged way more than I thought I would be able to.
Yeah.
I think
by the end of the second week, though, I was bugging you like, okay, that's 10 days.
Yeah, but we had some really cool stuff happen.
Yeah,
so it was worth it. But I did get, I think I got 65 pages written as far as my book goes. If you guys remember, I was talking about that a little while ago. So, all in all, very good, very relaxing. I am glad to be back. The last day of vacation is always hell. Travel, it's just getting, and Miami. Can I just say this? If you're listening and you live in Miami, why? It may be the worst place ever.
Tell us you haven't heard Welcome to Miami by Will Smith without telling us.
Oh, my gosh. Well, here was my welcome to Miami. Traffic, awful. The cruise port, awful. The airport, worse.
The food.
The food is good. The food is good. We went to a Cuban restaurant the second night we were there, and I was mad. My friend Josh Kuznick, he lives down there, and I had to find this Cuban restaurant on my own without being told about it. And then the minute that I said something to him, he was like, "Oh yeah, I could have told you about that place." It was fantastic, and it was cheap, and it's good.
Oh boy,
because here's how you know it's legitimately the right place and the good stuff. There were 130 people on the patio waiting to get in.
No way.
90% of them were Cuban.
So that's where you were going, and I didn't want you to.
You know that it's the right place. It's good food,
Yep.
And the people were so fun. And Krista got Cuban coffee at the end, and the top of her head almost.
Yeah, she didn't sleep for 2 days.
No, it was legit.
This, I've not had Cuban coffee, but I've had a lot of Puerto Rican coffee, and it always amazed me. So my grandpa would have like this much coffee, and then it was cream, right?
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, okay, this is going to be watered down. No. Up north, we make tea. We make sun tea with our coffee. You head down there, it is bold. It is gonna.
I saw Krista order it, and I just kind of looked at her sideways. Didn't say much, but it reminded me of did you ever see the Ralphie May bit about drinking Cuban coffee?
No.
Is
this going to be even further down the track?
No. He did a whole bit about because he asked for Cuban coffee, and they brought him out that little tiny cup, and he was like, "Oh no," he had never had Cuban coffee. He's like, "I need a real cup of like a full cup of coffee," and they just went, "Okay," and they brought him out a 12-ounce coffee. He was like, I could see the future. Yeah. I didn't sleep for a week.
2 grams of caffeine.
Yeah, it was legit. So anyhow, vacation recap. That was it. It was fun. I'm glad to be back. We hopefully you guys enjoyed the episodes while I was gone. Jason did a couple of really good interviews, and we're going to be talking about something here that has popped off since our episode. If you haven't gone back and watched the episode where we interviewed Big John Eisner from Big John's Cards, this would be a good time after you watch this episode to go back and check that one out because it's very apropos.
It was really interesting. Part of the interview I wanted to discuss with him, we've been talking about doing something for a minute, but once the dust settled over this whole FTC letter from a congressman where it does mean something, it doesn't mean something, we thought it'd be cool to just have a perspective of an attorney that understands the card space to just kind of say, hey, here's what might be happening. Here's what can follow a letter like that. And one of the things he was saying, like almost in time, was a lot of people forget that SGC was included in that letter. So if anybody is looking into this, which is an if, there's a lot of factors involved, they're going to have to look at what was done to SGC and compare that with Beckett. And so it's interesting. Antitrust lawsuit. Now, again, a reminder, anybody can sue anybody. Also, another reminder, we are not legal experts. We have no advice. We're just reporting what we're hearing here. But allegedly, antitrust lawsuit going after the very fact that there's a monopolization going on. And I think the bigger conversation here is, if this gains any traction at all, how many seconds before attorneys that know how to make money are building out the class action against Fanatics?
Yeah. Yep. It's definitely, and we've been talking about this for 6 years. Like, there's no such thing as a truly healthy market without competition. Like, there just isn't.
Yeah.
And one of our listeners and one of our moderators in the Discord, Jeff, sent me a book. And Jeff, I'm not going to lie, I did not get the whole book read while I was on vacation because I was writing too much. But I did read the intro to it. It's about the history of baseball cards and collecting. And I learned a couple things very early on that were very, very, very in line with what's going on in our hobby right now. Back in the 1860s, when they first started putting trading cards into packs of cigarettes, the Duke Cigarette Company was the ones who kind of started that. And they realized very quickly that the advertising cost of putting cards into packs of cigarettes was destroying their profit margin. It cost them way more to do that than to make cigarettes. And so they ended up deciding the only way we could not put those in is to buy all of our competition so we don't have to fight against each other more. So they created the American Tobacco Coalition, something, but they basically bought up everything, and they ended up getting dismantled because they were trying to get rid of competitive trade practices. Yeah. And all that was going through my mind as I'm reading that was, boy, that sounds awfully familiar. If you replace cigarettes with greiving, and you replace card brands with Fanatics, like it's just, it's not a crazy tinfoil scenario we're looking at.
No, the things that we said were going to happen have been happening. Now, listen, Gary and I have had a lot of takes over the years that were way off.
Yeah.
But when it comes to what we see happening in the industry with the large brands, the acquisitions, buyouts, lawsuits, like this stuff is unfolding. And the reason we think it's going to happen is because it's happened over and over and over and over and over in the court of law. Like it's history repeating itself. Now, how that plays out, I don't know. But all this to say, if there's momentum that lays some baseline in this industry for a monopoly, I'll be very interested to see if Panini has enough money, because that's the last second Hail Mary, right?
Hail Mary. Well, they've already lost the licenses. They're gone.
Yes, but they could go after them for the monopoly.
Yeah, they could do that, and then it would force the PAs and the leagues to at least offer licensing to other people.
Well, more than anything, I think it would put a magnifying glass on Fanatics, right?
Sure. I mean, but again,
that's a lot of things that would have to happen before.
It is, but it's a really important thing to remember here. And this is where the whole, where a lot of Panini's argument falls apart, not legally, but like ethically and morally. Panini is arguing that Fanatics should not be allowed to do what Panini did for 15 years. They're like, we did it and it was fine, but now that you're doing it, wah.
Yes and no. They didn't have all the licensing, did they?
They did not have MLB.
Yeah. I think that
Fanatics doesn't have hockey.
Right. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Upper Deck has said that they're not selling.
Baby.
Yeah.
Cold dead hands here.
Yes,
bud.
Exactly. They're like, nah, bro, we good.
So it's just be interesting to see that. Now, every lawsuit's not the most exciting thing in the world, but there is a pattern here of discussion, and it seems to be gaining a little bit of momentum and steam. And also, wherever there's a ton of money flooding a market, there are going to be lawsuits and class actions and money grabs from attorneys and people that just go, ambulance chasing, right? Essentially for that. So I think it's something to keep an eye on for sure. But let's talk for a second about the Topps Chrome release. So first off, I'm going to say it. Awesome. I love that Topps Chrome football is back. I love
Yes.
that licensed Topps Chrome football is back. It looks good. It's sharp. I opened a blaster, hit nothing.
Cost you
Absolutely.
$80?
No, I got $60 at New Heart Cards.
Okay, well, there you go. Very good.
But I cannot believe what is happening to LCS owners' direct account allocation for this product. So if I understand it correctly, and this is not one source, this is a ton of LCS owners. Okay. When you do a podcast about sports cards, there's only so many things you can play in the shop that are podcasts. We're one of them. So we're in a few LCSs around the country. And they're saying that there was an expectation for the LCS to promote the ever-living crap out of this Topps Chrome release, right? And a belief that this is similar to other Topps Chrome licensed products where I won't get everything. I'm not going to get all the breaker, delight, all these different formats designed for breaking, but should get some hobby, should get some jumbo, and should get a lot of retail because that's what we've been told. We'll get all the retail we want. Hobbies where they're starting to check everybody's grades and scorecards, right? Multiple LCS owners. Like Rob from Burbank got one case of jumbo. One. Now, how in the world does that happen in one of the largest brick and mortars moving more singles than anybody else? Why would that be, Gary?
Oh, I can tell you why.
Why?
Well, there's two main reasons.
What's the main one?
One, the largest amount of the print run was allocated to breakers. The end.
And
The
Rob is not big on
Correct.
breaking.
The second part of it is the rest of the print run, only a small portion was put out until Fanatics could see what the market was going to respond to. And the rebuys have been right around $1,000 on hobby boxes.
Even north of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you had shop owners that knew they didn't have enough product, that knew this is a product where, unlike Gilded, unlike some of these Bowman
If
products,
I have it, it's going to sell.
unlike all these other expensive ones, I have to take them. They're reaching out. The reps reaching out. I can't not. Finally, Topps Chrome, one where I'm going to have margin because there's demand. This hasn't happened in a minute, right? With a Fanatics product. And then they go and give the thinnest possible direct allocations and the day of release. Now, these shop owners have had to purchase all kinds of crap. They're hanging up these countdown clocks that Topps sent them. You're marketing the crap out of this, and we're not going to give you enough for your local market because it's this simple. I want my money back as fast as possible. Most businesses would like that. And they have figured out Fanatics will always make more money funneling this stuff to breakers to move it at the highest possible price because guess what? Their margins are, what does it cost? How much more than it's worth can I get out of it?
Yeah. And that point right there, and this is not on our sheet. This is a side tangent, but it's related to that point. I heard a few people talking about how something needs to be done about what's happening with the secondary market on sealed wax. Not the long-term secondary market, not the I bought a box of this and I'm holding it for 10 years and see what happens. It's the I bought this and I got it and today I'm going to sell it for 4 times what I paid for it.
Right.
One of the things that I've seen a few shops offering to do, even with retail, which is wild, but I've seen shops, even Mike Geo, that their breaking company, they were like, we will beat everybody's prices, but it has to be ripped. We're not sending you sealed boxes. Shops are, hey, it's this price if you let us take the wrap off or rip it in the shop, and it's this price if you want to walk out with it with the seal on it. There was talk at the industry convention, at the Topps convention here a couple 3 weeks ago, that Topps was like, we want to do something about the secondary market. Let me explain something to y'all. If you think Topps wants the secondary market to slow down, you are outside of your mind.
We look a little less demand.
They will give lip service to it, but that problem could be solved in 5 minutes in a meeting. Like, it is not a difficult problem to solve. You go from giving 65 to 70% of your print runs to breakers to giving 10% of your print run to breakers. You start allocating LCSs properly to meet the demand for their local communities. And then you do the one thing that they have done, which is ramp up the retail SKUs. Like those three things will bring the secondary market down by 30%, maybe 35%. Yeah. They don't want that because they make their money on the second order from these shops. That's where they make their money.
And so how could you feel any other way than disrespected if you're a shop owner and you don't get enough because they make it sound like there's scarcity, and by noon, the day of release, oh yeah, we got a bunch more. Would you like to pay 3 times as much as it cost last week?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where Fanatics is ramping it up.
See the back end of every card you sell? Get the hell out of here. Yeah. Like at some point, and so here's the reality. It is still going to be more profitable for them not to worry about the upset shop owner. But I'm telling you, at some point, the volume of consumers cannot keep up with this.
Well,
they can't.
The volume of consumers can't, but they'll just then funnel more product to breakers. Like that's the reality.
But what I'm saying is we're propping. You know, I remember building a fort out in the woods, right? And you always got one limb too many, right? And it's like, well, that didn't exactly. Like at some point, those things are happening. Now, here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying the product sucks. I'm not saying the marketing is bad. I'm not saying I don't love that Topps Chrome football is here. What I'm saying is, stop being deceitful in the communication with the people that have carried this industry for the last 25 years.
Yeah, and understand that, and again, Fanatics they're a publicly traded company, so they will always focus on where the most profit margin is in the short term, and that's the hard part about it. Companies used to think long term. And this hobby will always be more successful long-term when the average participant in it can afford to rip some product.
Here's my hot take with what we're seeing. Tinfoil hat. The aggression in which they're going after short-term games is positioning for a whale to come in and buy Fanatics.
That's possible.
I think it's a less than 5-year goal. It's so aggressive that they're building up the value. If you have all of a sudden... Like, how do those reports look when 60% of your product was on the second wave pricing? How do you
they look great.
Like, I think there's a lot of this that is positioning this thing for a sale. And what I mean by that is it's not like they're trying to get out. Could you just
imagine this in any other industry? Could you imagine this if you were making candy bars and you called the local grocery store and said, hey, do you need a few cases of our candy bars? Yeah, sure, we'll take a few cases. And then you called them 3 days later and said, did those sell? Yeah, would you like more at 3 times what we are charging you the first time? They would laugh at you. Why? Because they'll go buy candy bars somewhere else. Hence, people throwing around words like monopoly.
Yeah. That's what now here's what the people that fight this, one, they're connected to breaking, right? The funny thing is Gio actually was taking a bunch of hate from breakers because they thought he was bringing down their potential to be egregious with their pricing.
Yeah.
And he was like, now listen, this is coming from the guy who said the market responded on what Topps Chrome basketball is supposed to be. That is a $1,200 box. Clearly, eBay was not the second wave pricing, but just immediately as Topps Chrome basketball was hitting eBay, $1,200, $1,500. He's like, so we can introduce this at a $400 price point, but if people are going to be spending $1,200 on eBay, the value is much higher. So even he was like, when we got to football, he was even like, all right, time out. Time out. This is getting silly.
The problem is people are only paying $1,200 because it's the only option that they have, because the manufacturer artificially held back product to drive that price up. If every LCS, I shouldn't say every, because there's always going to be greedy people, but I tell you right now, I know Keith Newhart pretty well. And if Keith Newhart got 10 cases of Topps Hobby, he's going to sell them at MSRP or pretty daggone close. But when he knows that he's getting one case and the next order is going to be triple, he doesn't have an option but to follow what the market does. There's no option.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen him sell plenty of products at or under MSRP, but when there's a hot product and the company you buy it from is forcing your hand, don't get mad at the LCS. They're having their arm twisted up behind their back to where their shoulder's almost out of socket.
All right, put your tinfoil hat back on. Right on the tail end of that. Beep, boop, beep. Tinfoil hat. You know what would be really beneficial for fanatics? If your goal is to prop up the rebuy, the secondary market of this product, what if you had 20% of your breakers that know how to break, but they're not quite the product, the hobby darling that you want them to be? What if we just overnight decide you no longer have product, even though we know you have a strong liquid position, and now you get to duke it out on eBay, Dave and Adams, Blowout, everywhere else to run that shit up?
I don't know how tinfoil that is.
I mean, it was like overnight. Everybody's like, what happened?
Yeah, I don't know how tinfoil that is.
And what really cracks me up is we have some people like, we hear, like, everybody hears about these, meetings that they do with the LCS owners on a regular basis, Fanatics. One of the most recent things that Fanatics has asked of LCS owners is to, if anyone says, I'm thinking about opening a shop, please discourage them.
Yeah.
Who's doing that?
Right?
Who at the time where they have more volatile growth, raking in hand over fist, would say we want less people to consider investing in a shop? Is there not enough product to go around? I don't think that's the case.
Well, there's not enough product to go around when you funnel more than half of your print run to a very specific channel. And I think that's the kicker. And what sucks about it is the product that we're talking about. We started this conversation about Topps Chrome Football. It's a product that I was so excited about. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I'll rip any of it. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not paying $80 or $100 for a blaster. I'm not paying $200 for a mega box. I'm just not. And the singles are also in Crazyville. Like, there is stuff happening on the single side with this stuff that you were talking about, like the breakers doing this. That's not tinfoil hatty to me because we're watching it in real time on the single side of things. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to use the term case hit because they aren't case hits. This is something that you guys, little tip. Unlike Panini, Topps publishes pack odds. They don't have case hits. They have SPs and SSPs. And the depth of how short printed it is will be very clear with the pack odds. But like these kaijus that appear to be falling roughly one every 5 to 6 cases, and they're hobby only. The buys that are showing up are other breakers buying them. Yeah. Well, if I pay $15,000 for this, that's just a marketing expense because now we can tell people we're hitting $15,000 cards in this product, and we're going to make way more than $15,000 with that marketing expense. Yeah. Backyard Breaks is not even hiding behind it. They're like,
we haven't even brought them up in a minute.
They're publishing the list and they're overpaying for stuff on purpose. Like, they hit one for somebody. They tried to buy it from him for $12,000 in stream and he wouldn't sell it. So out of spite, they went and spent 13 and change on one.
Cool.
So, yeah, it's like, so again, back to a point we've driven home a lot of times. Don't get tied into the hype of things. If you open this product, you hit something big, please listen to me. Just sell it. If you really love it, buy it back in 3 months.
If it's a product hit, an actual product hit, maybe
different
sit
ball
on
game.
that.
Yeah, different ball game. But like if you just hit an SSP, you hit a Kaiju, you hit one of the Tecmo Bowls, I promise you this, I will buy one of those Tecmo Bowl cards eventually, but I will not do it anytime soon. Yeah. I think the card is awesome. I think it looks great.
I do have one more piece of news that's going to really piss you off.
Oh, great. Great.
Did you see this rumblings about the Medallion Club?
Oh God, yes. The breakers that pay $160,000 a piece for first access to stuff. Yeah.
So it was like, oh, that's not real. And then there's been a lot more popping up about it, just arguing that they have basically for about 160, 150K a month. This is all allegation. All right. That these breakers will have access to way more product first, right off the rip, large majority heading to them. They're handing over a couple mil in tax write-off for cost of goods expenses. And then getting the hookup. So
the self-dealing is something.
This is why we like to live our life with singles. You ready for a little show and tell here?
Yes, give me your show and tell. I have bought nothing for 2 weeks, so this is all Jason's show and tell.
This is all mine, and these are all cards that I picked up at the Eastgate show in Cincinnati on Saturday, and I've already got pricing on here. I don't care. You can see it. Yeah, buy it from me.
Oh, we're trying to hide from. Yeah.
Favorite card first. 2002 Bowman Chrome Refractor Joey Votto PSA 9 numbered to 300.
That's nasty.
Low pop card.
Oh, yeah.
Low pop card. Let's keep things early 2000s, just how I like it. 2001 Gallery Albert Pujols rookie in a 10. While we're on the Joey Votto train here, 1 of 1.
So nasty.
On card auto, game used patch, Joey Votto, Majestic, from I think like 17 or 18 National Treasures, 2017. Caleb Williams on the rookie auto to 75, a little bit bigger than what I normally do with a football. I try to stay in that $100 to $500 range usually, but I have told you guys that I think there's still upside on him, and I believe that. I'm matching my pricing in an SGC 9.5 off of a PSA 9. We'll see how that goes. But it is a rookie auto to 75. And last but certainly not least, so the lighting won't quite pick it up, but this is a gold from first year exquisite Jason Kidd to 25. So some fun stuff there.
Yeah, very cool stuff. Sure. That Kidd is a super cool card, but if you haven't listed it on eBay yet, I would.
Yeah. Well, I like showing things off for a week or two first.
I do too. I know what Kidd has done for me in showcases, and he moves pretty quick on eBay, but
well, then you know what would happen.
Like,
It'll sell in 5 minutes.
Right.
And then the cards I can't ever move, you'll
lower the bet. Yeah. Lower the bet to guarantee the win.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. I want to do a little mailbag question here from Discord. I told you I was just going to throw it at you in the moment. It's show theme. But this is Hail State Cards 21 on our Discord. By the way, we do have an active Discord. You can ask questions, hang out, content in there, reach out to
lots and lots of Easter eggs.
Yeah. Lots of fun stuff to find in there. Okay. Hail State Cards 21 asks, I'm getting ready. I have the opportunity to set up for my first show. It's being advertised as 200 to 300 tables, and I can get a table for a reasonable rate, $85 for an 8-foot table. So a few questions about it. Should I take the chance and get one? 2, how much inventory money-wise should I plan on having? I'm assuming 1 showcase with value boxes. And 3, what would be a good cash position to be in a feel good about buying opportunities? So a lot there. I'm sure you and I are going to ask about 10 questions for Hail State Cards 21 to think about. But let's dive into this because with our content, this is probably the most common conversation that we have because people know you and I make our money for the most part at shows. And so let's dive into this. So first off,
yes,
opportunity to set first show. Absolutely.
Yes.
Get out there. We say it all the time. Touch grass, go to a show.
Your worst case scenario, your absolute worst case scenario is you have an $85 payment that you paid to learn a lot of lessons.
Yep. It would be hard for that to happen.
Yes, almost impossible, but that's your absolute worst case scenario.
The first thing I want to say is I don't know if you realize it because when you attend, but you haven't ever set up, in your mind, it's everyone in this room that's behind a table knows what they're doing. They're professionals. They are vendors. I would venture to guess 60 to 75% of every show are people just like you. They're like, hey, I'm just thinking about trying this out. Or they do this instead of the Corvette Coffee Club that they do with their buddies, in the summer. Or, hey, I like opening football cards whenever it's football season. So I set up at a few shows to generate a few $100 every weekend so that I can keep opening cards, right? But there's a lot more people that are just hobbying that lane, which is good. That's a good thing. But mentally, I think a lot of dealers, when they're doing their first show, there's this like hurdle or barrier of like, I don't know what everybody else knows, and everybody else knows everything, and I just don't want to screw it up. Gary's right. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to learn a ton of stuff and spend $85. Okay. The price for the table, it really depends on where you are. If the promoter has a reputation for getting good traffic to the shows, the quality of other vendors that are in the building, I think 85 on an 8-foot table could be cheap or it could be expensive. It just depends, right, Gary?
Yeah, I think that one of the things that you and I talk about a lot, and it's been a harder mental transition for me, the cost of the table is way less important than the quality of the show.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, for us, we're lucky enough and have worked hard enough to be at a point where we just signed up for a really big show, and probably the highest per table cost we've ever paid. And we were both like, do I want to pay it? Probably not. But does it really matter? Probably not, because we know the promoters and we know what kind of crowd will be there.
Right.
So that extra couple $100 a table was like, it's annoying, but
it's simple.
Sure.
Like, so questions we ask. So for Gary and I, now we're hitting a price point as we catch larger shows where some of these tables do cost a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
So we were looking at 2 tables at the higher price point with better traffic, or 3 tables and save $250, right? Further back in the room. For me, that's a simple question. I can't remember how I worded it to you because we we're going back and forth. I was just like, do you think that location is likely to cover the difference of X amount of dollars? And even with less space. And when you break it down like that, it's like, it's pretty simple. Yes.
Yeah.
Nobody's excited to spend a ton of money on tables, but if you know you've got traffic, you'll have great buying opportunities at a show like that. Now, I'm getting ahead of us.
The second question was the one that I thought was the most interesting.
You jump in.
The level of inventory, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so this is a really important thing, and I think a lot of people struggle with this. It doesn't matter. All that matters for the inventory you take is your expectations.
Yeah.
So Jason and I kind of shoot for about a 30% or better sell-through rate, right?
Per show,
per show,
our inventory.
Yeah, versus our inventory, which means if we have 30 grand of inventory in a showcase, we want to do 10 grand in sales. That's the only equation. So if you only have $2,500 worth of inventory, that's perfectly fine. You can still set up at the show, and you probably should just adjust your expectations that if you're going to shoot for a 30% sell-through rate, that means you're going to probably make $750, $800.
I think too, I'll pause here and just say,
yeah,
I think there's a pressure for people setting up, especially the first few times, that you have to know the answers to all these things. And I think that's just the biggest illusion out there. Like, it's okay to go. You have pricing. Like, here's what matters. Organize your stuff. Know what you have. Know what you're asking for. Know what you're willing and not willing to take in offers. And then be friendly. And I don't think you'll fail if you do those things.
Correct.
If there's not enough people at the show, that's a promoter issue. That's not a you thing. If there's a bunch of people, but everybody's lowballing you, one of two things. They're all trying to flip cards. They smell a little blood in the water, right? They see somebody with the new stuff. They're like, I'm going to try to go buy the whole table.
Haven't seen this face before.
Or you had wishful thinking with your stickers.
Yes.
You know, on $5 to $20 cards, please do not sticker that at the highest ever comp. Like if it's the highest ever comp, a lot of that's going to be in the box after the show. But if your goal is to sell cards, organize your stuff, price your stuff, know where you need to be if people give offers, or make it simple. If you don't want to negotiate personality-wise, buy 5 cards, save 15% out of these value boxes.
Yeah.
Or if you spend 100, you only spend 90 or 80, whatever it is, just come up with your game plan there. But it's a lot of this is not as complicated as people want you to think it is.
Correct.
There's so many people in this space that want you to feel like it's impossible. Or if you're not coming to a show with one of the Louis bags where these guys bring out these great big bricks, and like here's a little fun fact: 99% of those guys, y'all ready for this? Oh yeah, not their money,
right?
Their money.
Yeah, that's somebody else's money. They're using
card and cash, baby. That's what they're doing, and so it's easy to see all this, and our media is hit with $50 rare or $50K rare Jordan transactions all over YouTube, right? the reality is your bread and butter is probably going to be under $50 for
Yep.
most people at a local show, especially getting started.
Yep. And then your last question was, how much money should I take to feel comfortable buying? Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that whatever you're comfortable with. Like if you have $500 that you're comfortable spending on new inventory, then take $500. If you are comfortable spending $1,000 on new inventory, take $1,000. I will tell you this, Jason and I both, unless it is a massive show, we normally start the day with somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500 in cash.
A smaller local show. Yeah.
Yeah. If it's a big show, we might take $2,000 or $3,000 in cash.
Now,
because we know we're going to sell a bunch.
Yeah, we're going to have access to more.
Yes, we have to have access to more. But like as far as the cash we take, and if this is your first show, I wouldn't worry too much about that. Here's what I would tell you though. And this is something that dealers, if you're a dealer, listen to me because I know half of you don't do this and it's annoying as hell. Have change. Like go to your bank and get some ones and get some fives and get some tens.
It's annoying because
Have
the banks take their time. And sometimes you lose a half hour trying to get some $5 bills, but you have to have it.
Yeah, take change.
Gary and I are starting with our filter, which is these are a couple of guys that were working blue collar jobs. So let me back up a second. Hail State, if you've got a liquid position and you're really wanting to scale or grow or whatever this, buying is where you win. Selling is going to happen. Buying is where you will win. So if you have, I would encourage one of two things. If this is all super overwhelming, the easiest thing to do is have a really short list in your mind of what you're buying and anything else that comes up. Hey, I appreciate you showing me. I'll pass here. Super normal. And then run your show, bring back the cards that are left and your money, compare your inventory that's left value to the cash you brought in, and start very simple with the accounting process. Some people get overwhelmed because money's coming in and I'm buying throughout the show and this and that, and I've got all these cards and man, I thought I had more money than this. What's going on? So just keep it simple for yourself. It may make more sense to just, hey, I'll one off this, everything that I sell, then I get home, then I get reorganized, and then I go out to a show and buy or whatever. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think hopefully that answers the question. In a nutshell, yes, you should set up. Worst case scenario, you're out $85 and you learned a lot and you met some fun people and you probably had a pretty good day.
Yeah.
Realistically, you're going to lose some money on some buys and sells. You're going to make some money here and there. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to have a good time. And you're probably going to want to do it again. It can be pretty addicting. It's a fun game to play. And then take the money that you're comfortable spending. Like, I don't know what your inventory is like. If you have a showcase and the smallest card you're going to put in your showcase is $3,000 and you got some $10,000 or $12,000 cards in there, well, you probably want to take a little bit more money because you are going to have the ability to. I will tell you this, at a 200 to 400 table show, unless you're in the top 0.05%, you're not going to have the most money in the room. But if you start setting up at smaller shows, there's pretty big advantages to having more liquidity than anybody else in the room. Yeah. So
yeah, like if we go to
Yeah,
I want to bring that up. There are certain shows, like especially a little bit smaller local regional shows. Gary and I will sign up and attend those knowing we're not moving 30% of inventory today. But we also know there'll be a lot of lot purchases. And if we are one of the 5 guys in the room that brought a little more cash than everybody else, I mean a little bit more, and you're just trying to buy and you tell everybody you're trying to buy, pretty incredible stuff can happen there too. So we'll bring a stronger cash position into those shows where we sell less, which I know sounds silly, but it's part of a strategy that's worked out for us so far.
Our guest today, this is a guest that I've been lucky enough to develop a relationship with, a really great guy. Started talking to Ryan about coming on the pod 2 or 3 months ago. Timelines just weren't matching up. We finally got it nailed down. So joining us today, all the way from New England, you'll hear it in his voice, is my friend Ryan Durkee from 6 Sports Cards on Facebook, Wheels on Cards on eBay. He's going to have a lot of great stuff to share with us today. Get your pen out, take some notes. This is a good one. All right, so we are joined today by Ryan Durkee of Six Sports Cards, Cards on Wheels. I've been looking forward to this for a while. Ryan and I have been friends for a few years now. We've gotten to actually meet each other in person a couple of different times at the National. Thanks for joining us today, man. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
No, absolutely. We, you and I met through your Facebook group, which is something we're going to talk a lot about today. For those of you who aren't aware, who don't like submerge yourself completely in the hobby, Ryan owns and runs one of the larger Facebook groups dedicated to sports cards called Six Sports Cards. If you're not a member there, go join.
Yeah,
Yep,
represent.
there you go.
Represent.
Pimp it. Yep. Pimp it. And I met Ryan through that, and one of the first things that I realized was that Ryan and I have very similar personalities, which can sometimes be a good time, and sometimes we butt heads a little bit.
I'm terrified.
The good news is, at the end of it, it's all good.
Exactly.
Whatever that looks like. So why don't we just start off the rip here, Ryan? Tell the folks what your hobby journey has looked like. How'd you get into the hobby? How'd you decide this is how you were going to make a living, what you were going to do?
I got back into the hobby I was actually thinking about this earlier. So I was at work. I was very annoyed at work one day when I used to work full time, and I didn't want to go home. And I was like, you know what, let's do something. So I went to a local shop. I asked them what the newest release was, and I think at the time, funny enough, it was baseball. National Treasures are Immaculate. Yeah, I know. I already see it in your face. Because I'm not a fan of baseball. They didn't have it. The owner, Frank, was like, tried these other shops. So I ended up driving down to the shop locally to me now, and got a case of Triple Threads baseball. And you know when you open up a box, or when you open a case, you flip the boxes open, you sort them up to get organized. One of the boxes it weighed way more than every other box. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And it ended up being I'm going to screw this up. It was a Jose Canseco 101, but it was just, I don't know, it was a huge card, like weight wise. It wasn't obviously it wasn't huge value, but it just weighed a ton. And then that got me hooked. Then I was back in it. I went home that night, started looking up groups, and I showed somebody like, oh, join this group, and the rest is history when it comes to the Facebook stuff. That I think my first, I had a bunch of baseballs, and then the one thing that I know I won the first night was a yellow boot of Hulk Hogan autograph, one of the replica boots. I think I still have it somewhere.
That checks out. That tracks.
The rest is history.
So you got back into the hobby. What year was that? Do you remember? Was it pre-COVID? Was it the beginning?
Absolutely pre-COVID. My wife's going to kill me. My wife, 10 years, 20, probably 2012, 2013, 2013, 14.
Wow.
All right, so you've been around. You weren't a boomer baby.
No,
as I've started calling the COVID guys.
No,
nothing wrong with that. We're glad to have them in the hobby, but yeah, it was a different world pre-COVID, and a lot of these guys don't understand that in the least. So some of us older guys that get grumpy about stuff, they don't get it, and we're like, wait a minute, we know how this used
grumpy?
To be. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? So when did you start setting up at shows?
So the first show, I did a lot of local shows. I started going to a lot of them locally, and then I set up pre-COVID. We set up locally at the VFW, the Elk shows locally. And then my first national was probably 2016, 17.
What was that like?
Overwhelming.
Yeah, I remember my first. I remember my first national. It was like, oh my god,
whoa!
it was just, you start at whatever 8, 9 in the morning, and you couldn't even use the restroom. It was just, it's one after another after another after another, and it's like, before you look down, you look at your watch, and it's 4 o'clock, and you're like, all right, I haven't eaten all day. I've had to use the restroom for the last 3 hours, but you're so nervous to go because like you don't want to miss out on the deal, whatever. But then, as you go through year 2, year 3, you start to meet more people, trust more people. Hey, can you watch my booth for 5 minutes and get to do those things? But the first year, it was just like, whoa, like this is crazy, 'cause especially the size of it. You never see anything like it.
Yeah, it definitely, I remember having those same feelings the first year I went. And I want to say my first national was probably 12 or 13. It was Atlantic City,
So
which
I was
makes it
after
even
that.
worse. Okay,
Yeah.
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 The Atlantic City's the worst. I don't know why anybody would choose to have any convention of any size in Atlantic City. It's just the absolute worst.
We went to the most recent one in Atlantic City, and we were there with the friends and a couple of kids, and it was just the boardwalk and everything. It just it didn't fit. It didn't fit the vibe. Like you go to Chicago, it's cards everywhere. Like
Yeah.
every hotel skywalk, every hotel lobby, trade nights, whatever you may go through. You go to Atlantic City, you go outside to get food, and it's Atlantic City. It's a different vibe, and it's like, all right, a little uncomfortable, if you will, just as far as the
Yeah.
amount of money going around, the value of
Yeah.
stuff. It's like I don't want to come back here personally.
No.
So,
And the guys that are carrying around a backpack with $500,000 in cash in it, you're just like, and people hear that number, they're not and a lot of our listeners are people who go to just their local shows and they can't get their head wrapped around that. But when I tell people that, they're like, no, people don't do that. Yeah, they do.
went to a show Friday locally up here, and one of the big guys, he had a display, which I'm not a huge fan of this at all. He probably had 250 grand cash just laid out under his buying sign. Of course, he offered a wire to everybody afterwards, which made zero sense to me, but let it be. But yeah, no, you see at the national, especially, you see the rolling safes. You see, it's a whole new.
Mhm.
There's a ton of money. It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me jump in here real quick,
Yeah.
Gary. So Ryan, whenever you hit the big card, right? You're like, I'm getting back into this. I'm hooked. You said the rest is history, but I want, if you can remember, like, when did this go from like, hey, this is a fun thing that I'm doing to like, maybe I want to like do this. Like, I'm going to treat this like a real business. Not, and maybe you were kind of halfway flipping stuff here and there, but when did it become a thing where it's like, no, this is what I'm going to do. This is it.
So for those that don't know, I'm disabled. I'm in a wheelchair. I know you guys know this, but so what I was doing full time, I was working on commission sales. And because I couldn't actually go into somebody's house, I was splitting everything with other coworkers at the time.
Mm.
And when you have to split every deal you do with somebody, you leave a lot of money on the table. So I got into cards just as like I was in a bad mood one day, grumpy, go figure. And then I started seeing the money side of it. I'm like, all right, can I make this work? Like, can I do it as a side hustle type thing? That turned into me making it being more rewarding than my actual job went. But then I was like, all right, well, how do I actually get insurance? How do I do all this stuff on my own? Met Rachel. We kind of put it together. I did work at a card shop for about 4 years as like the front of house guy, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day he was like, not that you're too smart to do this, like I don't need you anymore, but you can do this on your own. And then to be coy, frank, whatever the term is, it was just kind of me having to grab him and say, all right, let's do this. And I got very lucky because I did, I built my reputation on Facebook as somebody that was reliable, got to help run a room that was starting out. The room kind of folded. And then honestly, Joel Leland, you guys know him. He's the one that brought me into sick. I think now it's like 8 years ago. And then sick has kind of just changed everything in my trajectory as far as hard cards go. But so luck, that was one big thing, part of it too. But just kind of believing in yourself and taking a shot at it and just saying, let's do it.
I want to jump on something you said there about reputation, because I think that that's really important. You said you got lucky, and maybe I think the timing was right, but it was because you were ready for that. When the luck came, you were prepared for it. But one of the things I want to applaud you for is I know one thing: you don't skip out on a payment in the sick group.
No.
Not if you want to have any transactions in the card space with anybody that has access to the internet. I promise that's not the room to play those games in. How do you maintain a space where there's like an active marketplace going on, in a space where there's a lot of money moving around? And how do you keep a priority of like when to call something out, the right way to do that? Is this buyer just, forgetting, or do they need somebody to light a fire under their butt? I know I'm goading you, and I'm saying this so nicely. You're going to give me a blunt answer here, but I want people to hear like how seriously you take that.
I I've made a ton of mistakes with it over the years because I've definitely jumped to conclusions with it, but it's just like you guys have all seen this. You see somebody text, "Oh, I'll do it in 30 seconds. I'm driving." The time that it took you to type that message out, you can load up your app and click send. Like
Yeah.
the the BS behind that and like those excuses. Not. I mean, I haven't seen them all, but I've seen so many of them. It's like, no, you're lying, dude. Like, just you either don't have the money, which is fine. It just
Mm-hmm.
admit it, or you're just lying. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just make the payment. But I think my reputation, and I know it is, a lot of people know this, like, it's not the room to play around in because you make one or two mistakes with doing that. It's like, I don't want to deal with you anymore. And I'm in a lot of group chats with other admins where they're like, oh, you need those guys. Well, cards are fun for me. Yes, I make a living at them, but
Sure.
if they're going to give me a headache, you as a member do not deserve that same headache. Like
Right.
I can
Yeah.
deal with it being the head guy,
Right.
but you have people from all aspects of life all across the country that need that $50, need that 1050, like to send the buy, just do whatever. They're not in a cushy spot or anything like that where some people are, where it's like, all right, I can wait a day. Like, no, you committed to play, pay. You
Yep.
lost. Move on. Like, let's just,
Mm-hmm.
you lost. You
Yep.
won, you're texting them in 10 seconds saying, here's my address.
Yeah.
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 The
Yep.
respect goes both ways. When you
Yep.
win, you
Yep.
win. When you lose, you lose.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's, I guess you can call it the masshole in me. Just that's what bleeds into that side of it. Like, just let's keep it 100 with everything and let's move on.
One of the things that I figured out really quick about you, and you and I are a lot alike in this way, and Jason is a little different, although if you push him far enough, he gets to where I am on the get-go.
I just turned into Ralphie in the Christmas story when he's wailing on the kid. Like I'm crying. Like I'm
I do
in
that
the
via text
feels.
sometimes if you need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
You said something at the very beginning of this before Jason even asked about the other part about reputation and developing the right reputation. And in this business, more than any business that I've ever been in, your word and your reputation means more than anything else. And to the point where for me, I don't care if people like me. I do want them to respect me. Like there's a lot of
100%.
people in this space, in this hobby that don't necessarily like me, but there's nobody that can say I've ever not paid them. There's nobody that can ever say that I've ever not sent their stuff. There's nobody that can ever say that if I say something, I'm not going to do it. That's way more important to me than people liking me. And what has ended up happening for me, and I've seen it for you too, is you end up attracting the people who think the same way.
Yep.
And business and life gets a lot easier because people aren't worrying about feelings. They're not worried. It's just like, let's just do what we got to do. And then we can go have a beer. It's fine.
Exactly. Like you kind of, what you just said on, if you look at all the rooms across Facebook now, there's thousands of them.
Yeah.
I know for a fact at least 5 of them, I can name on the top of my head, have started because I've removed them from the room.
Yeah.
And they go and create their own room. And that's perfectly fine. You can do that. But I know I have a reputation of this is how sick is. Don't not play around. Like, I don't mean like that. Like, I'm not being the judge or anything, but like, don't play games with other people's livelihood and other people's money that you might get away with elsewhere. And that's helped me and also hurt me because like the room, some people love it, some people hate it. And that's just life. And it is what it is.
I would much rather have people hate me and not have to deal with them and my life be a lot smoother than everybody think that they like me and I like them and then they can do whatever they want to do. But on the Facebook side of things, then back kind of to our outline here, you got it back into the hobby. You were setting up at a few shows. You got to start help admin and moderate a couple Facebook rooms, and you got brought into SICK. When you got brought into SICK, tell us what that looked like. I know what SICK looks like now. Why did you make the decision, hey, I think that this might be the place to really grow my brand, grow this brand into something that can drive everything else?
The people that were running it at the time, honestly, like it was Chris, Joel, actually 2 Chris's, Joel. We were essentially a family. Like as far as like you have your real friends in real life, if you will.
Yeah.
I felt just as close to these guys within 3 months, like we ended up setting up the national together, and it grew, and we all were very aligned and balanced each other out. Where we had an issue here, you text somebody else, they'd get back to you, and like everyone actually cared for what was going on within the room. And we had all aspects. We had the breaking side of it. We had the lines. We had the buy and sell. Everything. It was just it was a very fluid train that was moving, and it was actually fun. Like it
Yeah.
was. You get on Facebook, a lot of people say, "Are you trying to avoid real life?" Like I actually enjoyed it. Like you were hanging out with people, talking to people. Our group chat was nonstop. It was a lot of fun, and that I think got me hooked because it was like, all right, I can quote unquote roll with these guys as far as let's see what we can do in the hobby, and it was awesome. Like it was just fun. Now I think that was when I do the hobby, I want it to be fun. Yeah, I want to make money, but the fun part means way more to me than what the backside looks like. Just because,
So did you realize what you were doing with your brand? Because I think you were ahead of your time a little bit. Like where I see everybody now with a card business is coming to the realization that I have the reputation, but I never built the value of my brand. And what I mean by that is like seeing the Ballcard Show at all the shows. If
yep,
all we did is content, I think we have less than half of the audience that we do right now. It's the
it,
fact that that brand goes with us to 50 shows a year and everything else we're doing is attached to it. So, did you know that this would become as large as it was? Like, were you feeling like, hey, this Facebook group's about to pop? Or was that just kind of like an added when you talk about luck, timing? Like, because that group launched the brand into the stratosphere as far as recognition, right?
yeah, and I think I had a reality check. Honestly, probably my first national with it. I got brought into sick, and then we set up at the national, and I had my old sick logo because six logos has changed. And we did the flyer, not flyers, the stickers and giveaways. But the amount of people that stopped at the booth to say hi to me was humbling for myself. Like that,
Yeah.
that was crazy because
Yeah.
you're there at the national, the biggest sports card show of the year, and people are like, "Oh, you're Durkee from Sick," like, and he could be from Alabama, he could be from Arizona. The next guy's from there was a few guys from Canada, and it was like, all right, we have something here. Like,
It's
let's
weird
just
when that
keep
happens,
going.
isn't it?
It's my wife hates it because I know I'm an arrogant guy. Like, and my wife's like, "Oh my god, his head's not gonna," and I'm like I many years ago because I've gotten used to it, but like it was to the point where like I was shocked. Like here I am, a dude from Attleboro, Massachusetts. Like no, like this, I'm not a celebrity by any means, but it's like these people actually want to come see me, and like it was awesome to do it. Like that
Yeah.
was humbling, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, and then we just kept it moving. Like we do the giveaways sometimes in the room, send out the sweatshirts, send out the shirts, the stickers. I mean, it's you go, especially around here. There's probably 15, 20 guys that wear the six shirt around here at every show they go to. And it's like, this is really cool. Like,
That's
all
cool,
right,
man.
like
Yeah.
I'm a part of this. Like, this is awesome.
So in that process, and I'm not going to ask you to spill any trade secrets or give away any secret sauce here, but if you're able to, would you say that the process of growing sick was because when I first got to sick, I want to say there were probably 6 or 7 thousand members in the group, and now you're close to 30.
18. We're right at
18.
18.
Okay, I thought we were a little bigger than that now, but that's okay. Either way, I've seen it grow. Was that growth purely organic, or did you guys sit down and go, "Here's how we're going to do this"?
It was all from day one. I've never been a fan of add your friend, we'll give away $50 type that.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of it. I
Yep.
think we've maybe done it twice.
Yeah.
So it's all been word of mouth. Just Gary knows Brad knows Steve knows Carl. They come in that way. Just because I wanted the room to last. Like I didn't, you've seen it, you probably both seen it. You see rooms come and go.
Yeah.
I can't say this with 100% confidence, but I can say it with like 95% confidence. I think six, one of the most longest standing
Yeah.
rooms
Yeah.
that have been around from way back when. And I can name you 20 that have come and gone. So I think the organic side of it helped maintain it, because it wasn't I don't know the right term, like a short, like money grab type thing. Like it's something we
Yeah.
wanted to sustain and grow with it. So
I,
I prefer it that way.
and I want to give you guys props on something I saw we participated in was about a month ago. You and Mike Marshall decided
Yep.
to use the room to do a fundraiser to support a family whose little girl is dealing with some major health issues. And it's not uncommon to hear groups doing that. But when I tell the people watching and listening to this, the cool thing was he ran a flashlight on this. And when you see how many people gave a crap about that, you know, all
Yep.
you hear a lot of times about these groups is this is where the degens are hanging
Yeah.
out, right? Like that's what you hear. But you also have people that are in community that make a point of walking at this one point in the national to the dealer that they've only known through Facebook. And I think people, you know, my age and older, 40s up, I think we still don't quite understand that those things happening on the internet are still able to build real relationships too, right?
Yeah.
Like my son has friends he plays video games with across the country, but I'm learning some of them are real friends.
Yep.
So I thought that was awesome to see the community component that you guys have built there, especially coming together for a cause like that.
You know, that's you probably see my face. I'm not gonna cry, but I maybe after. The community, like I'm very big on the relationship side of it. You know, like I said before, there's so many different personalities, so many different lifestyles that are within the room. But the one thing that you can never, like, I don't know the right term, but if I can use a Facebook group to help somebody else in a shitty situation, sorry, in a crappy
Yeah.
situation,
Yeah, you're fine.
I'll do it. Like
Yeah.
when I lost my dad 3 years ago, I was shocked at the amount of support that I got within the room. We've done that type of stuff for a long time, and I will continue to do it. The problem is, it's not like I could get a message every day as far as like, can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? And having to tell somebody no,
Yeah.
it crushes me. But it's like, where do you draw the line? It's like, what's the severe side of it? Like, or when is it actually needed?
Yeah.
And that is one thing I will do until the day I give up on sick. Like when I'm done with cards, if you need help in the community, like you're active in the community and you supported the page or whatever, we're there. Like that,
Yeah.
and you start. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember, but we used to do the fundraiser for my birthday, Frederick's Ataxia.
Yep.
I actually got a phone call from one of the top guys at the foundation in Philly. We raised over $330,000 in 4 years when I did it for that foundation.
Yeah.
You want to talk about watching a grown man cry? I bawled
Yeah.
my eyes out
Yep.
on that. And it's like, I know 3% of you. Like I've actually met maybe 3 to 5% of you. The rest of you are just online friends that like I've gotten to know, but it's wild what the internet can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's that sense of community, like,
Yep.
and it's very, very real. And in this business, especially, when it comes to the way that the card world works, there's really two things. You're insular locally with the show scene. Most people who set up at 30, 40 shows a year aren't getting outside of a 3 to 4 hour window from their house. Those of us who actually go out and do this are the small minority of people. Everybody else, it's in these online communities, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Discord. And those relationships are just as real as any other one. And the one thing that's really cool about it is what we all have in common with it is we're playing with toys we played with when we were kids. and it brings everybody together. And it's a really cool thing. So, let's move into something that you and I both did recently, and how that has affected business. You were streaming on Whatnot quite a bit.
Yep.
Jason and I still have our solo show, not our solo show, but our joint show that we do on Sundays. Jason still runs a weekly show on Whatnot. I run one every 6 to 8 weeks now, and I moved stuff to eBay. Now, I'm not doing the high volume that you're doing as far as listing volume and sales volume goes, but I just transitioned over to eBay because the type of stuff that I want to sell in those environments is not stuff that Whatnot responds to super, super well. Why did you decide to make the shift from Whatnot to eBay, and what have you learned in that?
I decided to make the shift this year mainly for the ROI purposes. It was a complete money play. At the end of the day, I when I go on Whatnot today and I look at streams, there are certain streams that I think do very well and they make a lot of money, and that's awesome. But I don't like how they manipulate things
Mm,
and lie about what certain things are worth.
yep.
Not to call anybody out, but you get on a stream and anyone that knows cards, you look at a card and you're like, all right, that's a $50 card, a $60, whatever the number is, and they're showing comps where it's like a $200 card, or that's what they're saying, and you're screwing people over. And
Yes.
that is just not something that I'm about. You can buy at a good price, you can sell at a good price, but to absolutely continually stab somebody in the back on a price, on a card, I don't think that's fun. I don't think it's long term
Yeah.
sustainable. I think eventually, like the worst thing you probably see it too. You go to a show, something goes up and they're selling, they give you a card. It's like, yeah, I paid $84 on Whatnot. Like, okay, look it up. Well, the last ones are 13, 17, 22, 23. It's like, all right, well,
Yeah.
why
I'm
did you?
Hey, hold on. Do you get like when they hand you that stack and it's stuff you actually want and they say, I bought all this on Whatnot, your first thoughts, oh no.
I, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but my favorite thing, I got one right now. I ripped them off. You get a mag card, and it's got like a 48 sticker or a
Oh yeah.
72 sticker, and you're
Yeah.
like, you look and you're like, all right, that's from Whatnot. And me, the cynical side of me goes, all right, I know you got screwed when you bought
Right.
this card, but how bad was it? But
Unless they
um,
got it in the Ballcard Show stream or in the six stream, because we
oh,
give that shit
I'm giving
away.
stuff away every day. Like, and that's exactly why I stopped doing it. It's like we were talking about earlier. You sell a card, and like, all right, well, in my brain, I'm like, I know this is a $40 card. It sells for $12.50. I go on eBay in 2 weeks. I'm like, well, they just got it for $30. It's not that it's a problem. It's like I have the scanner, I have everything else here. Let's just do it. Like, let's
Yeah.
just get this stuff on eBay, and then you get a 24/7 business model. Like you're online, you're on Whatnot when you're live, quote unquote, for 2-3 hours a day. eBay's 24/7, and you get like kind of exactly what you have. You have that niche market for certain cards. They're not getting on Whatnot every day to buy them. They're getting on
Right.
on eBay at 8 o'clock at night when their kids are in bed for 20 minutes searching for it. If it's there, great, deal's
Yep.
done, moving on.
Yeah.
So that's one of the main reasons I went to eBay, is just to have the 24/7 exposure, but also the reward of it, the ROI side of it.
And you're on eBay, your store is, it runs the gamut, right? Everything from the low end up to
Everything.
whatever you feel like putting on there. Okay.
Everything. It's like having a full 35-foot display, 35 feet of display at a show. Here's it all. Like, take what you want, which I like that because you get a lot of people that they want the higher end, they get the lower end, and that's what I try to be, is get something for everyone, really.
I have a theory. I just thought of this. So just, we do this all the time, Durkee. I'm just jumping in here. But I'm hearing more of what you're saying with people who have been doing live selling for a while, right? And Gary and I spent a lot of time talking about this, where it's like if he knows he has something unique and he knows the value to a collector of that card, it is hard for him to detach the possibility of this getting 30% of what it could do anywhere else, right? Um,
100%.
and I think there's a lot of sellers that are like, it seems like if I'm not yelling or lying or creating the false sense of urgency, then that's the only way I'm going to get there. I happen to think there's like a middle road, but I think here's what's going to happen. I do think with live selling, you are going to see a little bit of an exodus back to eBay for a lot of people. I do think for the exact same reasons you're saying. I also think the people that don't want to be those guys are going to move almost exclusively to pre-bids where everything is pre-listed before the auction and it runs. And so I think you're going to have a lot of dealers that have to decide, do I want to put 10 to 15 hours into this show by the time I pre-bid, list, photo, and it may not perform, and I've already sunk those hours. Whereas eBay, you throw it up there, and then I'm going to have days where I'm buried in shipping and days I'm not. But I think it'll be 3 lanes. I think you're going to have the yellers, not even close guys, right? You're going to have the people that are doing kind of that pre-bid, which is kind of what eBay's starting to push. I know Pristine does one, and they're even tracking their sales of small singles as comps on Card Ladder with their live auction. And then you have eBay, the push with all that stuff. So I do think there's some reform coming to a lot of this. It'll be interesting to see just how many whatnot sellers make that same shift to say, you know what, I'd rather just put this up on eBay and wait on the proper return on that investment.
I don't know. I don't have a card. I don't know what it is. My thing with whatnot and eBay and shows is let's take a $100 card, PSA 10 slab that sells every day for $100. With whatnot's fee structure, you have to sell with whatnot fee structure compared to eBay's fee structure compared to what a repacker is now paying. You have to essentially sell that. If you're a normal Joe Schmo and whatnot, I think you're right around 11-12% fees. You have to sell that card for about 111% above market to actually make money on the card per se. When you compare it to buy a card for $100, or you get a card that's worth $100, a repacker nowadays is going to pay you $90 for that card just with a quick email. It's gone.
Yeah.
So when you see the people on whatnot that are running all these flashy cards, I'm like, all right, well, why are you using a repacker? And it's because you're getting more. Great, good for you. But are you getting more because you got the right buyers that are just willing to overpay? Let's be real. Nobody wants to overpay for a card. Like,
Right.
and if you maybe there's 1 or 2 guys that will, but for the everyday downtown, everyday uptown, everyday kaboom, whatever, everyone that's in the game knows this is what the card goes for. You're literally screwing somebody when it goes for 170%. It's not, I don't think that's cool. I don't think that's fun when you can just send an email and you get the 95% for that card and you're done. Wash your hands of it.
Let them screw somebody over.
Let's dive into that for a second. This is one of those side tangents that I thought we would land into.
Tangent's going to be the right word.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute, because comps is a subject that I get a little annoyed with on both ends of things. So what are comps? Comps are what people are paying for a card.
Yep.
What happens if whatnot ever actually gets their AI right where they can report sales of cards? Now are those people overpaying, or is that a comp? And if it's a comp, did they actually overpay? If I start an auction at $1 and I don't lie to anybody about anything and it sells for 800% of what the last 5 averaged, did I screw somebody? Or were 4 people in that room just fighting over that card and all I did was sit it on a stand in front of them and not say another word?
Oh, I like this. This is good.
Like what is a comp?
Yeah.
Isn't it just what somebody paid for something?
I think I agree with you as far as what is a comp, as far as like what if those comps were reported that could change things. Two arguments for this. One, if we go on whatnot right now and we actually scroll through stream by stream by stream by stream, the shows that quote unquote do well or do bad are like mine. Not a ton of noise, not a ton of music, just kind of here's the card, bam, go, 20 seconds, whatever it is, they go. When you go on to, I'm not going to call them up, but you go onto the streams, we all know what I'm talking about, and I have to turn down the volume on my phone because my wife is sitting on the couch next to me, can hear it clear as day. And they're not even yelling about the card. They're just telling you, Gary, you're an effing idiot because you haven't bid on this card enough.
Yeah.
That is not selling a card.
I agree. That I agree with you completely on.
Yep.
I think I don't think anybody with a brain disagrees that the bad actors are bad for everybody. It damages the entire economic ecosystem of the hobby. extracts money that never comes back and never recirculates. That's bad. But I also know that there are people who have given us a hard time. There are people who give guys like Clever Cuban a hard time. And if I sit a card up that hasn't sold in 4 years and there's 3 sales of it ever, and those sales are $5, $8, and $6, I've had that card sell for 60.
He just did that. If I have the right gentleman, he just did that with a cosmic card, I believe.
It was a Jordan. It was a
Yep.
Jordan, not Jordan. Yoshinobu Yamamoto
Yep,
rookie, a base rookie.
Yep.
And if you watch his streams, and we've had Alex on the pod, I'd like to consider him at a minimum a hobby friend.
Sure.
He literally set the card on the thing, said, "Hey, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, cosmic base rookie," and then he just has conversations with the chat while the auctions run. He doesn't talk about anything. He doesn't say anything about it. The card sold for $170. It's like a $9 card, $8 card. And it was paid for. And it was on eBay Live.
I think then this could be my own personal problem as far as like when everyone probably does, like when you think you know too much, you don't know enough. Like, I don't know, I probably screwed that up, but you know too much, you always worry about what the next person's doing, and you think they're wrong, but maybe they're right. Maybe they're just doing it. My thing is, like, especially with what you were talking about, with what you went to eBay with, if you have a pop 7,755 Luka Doncic rookie,
Yeah.
there's a set market for
Yes.
that card.
100%.
Yes.
That card sells for, I don't even know, $200 every day. 185 one day, 250 the next day. The average of the last 350 of them are $200. With what you're doing on your eBay, where you have a black refractor David Wells card numbered out of 699 from 2012 Topps, I can understand that card doesn't sell every day. It could be a $3 card one day, but you might have that buyer that will pay $30 for it because they need it for a set.
Yep.
But when you think about the common cards,
Yes.
that's where I think comps matter, because it's like buying a car. You're not going to go spend $50,000 on a baseline Honda Civic card today because you can go buy it everywhere else for 25,000, whatever. I haven't bought a car in 10 years, but whatever. There's a baseline and there's a track card that says this card is worth this. It's sold for this for a million times, and nothing's been a reason to make that Honda Civic worth 2x. Besides, in my term,
The Civic scored 47 in the first game of the playoffs.
He got 47 miles per gallon, bro. Come on.
Exactly. Actually, you say that, so that's really funny. I literally looked at this morning because I have 52 Wemby Silvers, PSA 10s. I've been buying them for a while. I haven't posted on Facebook. Nobody's seen them. They're literally sitting in a Zion case behind me here. I bought them for like $1,100, and I wanted to see what's going to happen when he gets into the playoffs. 5 of them sold on Fanatics Weekly April 19th, so the day before yesterday, for $25.20. That was all 5 of them. One sold on eBay after he dropped 35 last night for $27.50. And it's like, that I understand. Okay, we're in the moment. He dropped a bomb. Like, let's see how it goes. But come July, when the season's over, or maybe not July, but August, whatever, there's no reason for these jumps. Like, there's a consistent range here of what they're worth.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm on an island alone. Who knows?
No, I think it's just a good conversation to have. I agree with almost everything you're saying there. It gets in my.
Are you more asking like what's going to happen when? Because it's just a matter of time till these other platforms it does upload to Card Ladder. Now it would only be for those guys that we're not mentioning. They're never going to do pre-bids ever. So it would not make the comp. But anybody that takes the time to list it with images and condition and all that, those could hit Card Ladder. But I want to give us a thought here for context, because the eBay market right now. So Gary and I are setting up an Indy at the Miller Time show. We're really looking forward to it. It's like 400 table show, really cool venue.
Wow.
2 days. And there's going to be a lot of Topps Chrome football that walks up. You guys already know where I'm going with this, right?
Yep.
And I'm going to pull up Card Ladder, and there are going to be legitimate auction comps of a card at $200, and they're going to hand it to me. And I'm just going to hand the card back and say, I'm going to pass. And they're going to be baffled. And the 3 of us know why. Because, yes, that's a real comp, but it is also a real comp of a product that has become, in my opinion, overpriced, and it's first to market numbers. And we all know 2 to 3 months from now, aside from this percentage of the cards from that set, it's going to settle down somewhere, right? So in that regard,
Josh Allen, like that Josh Allen of 150, the first one that sold the blue color match
what did it do? I missed it.
That's
Raw did
screenshots.
$7,500. there are listed PSA 10 silver auto rookies listed for less than that card sold for.
Yep.
It's insane.
I got offered a what is it, Kaiju? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
The new case set.
Yeah.
The one posted comp on the market right now, I think it's 11,000 for the Cam Ward. A kid offered me for $8,000 last night. I'm like, no, like because
Give you 4.
I'm one comp away at
Yes.
$6,000 for taking the bath. I actually posted in the room like, don't get caught holding the bag.
Yes.
But I think there's a couple things to that. If you look at the downtown craze and the Kaboom Cream, the first year, you hear that every time you go to a show. First year downtown, first year Kaboom. I know in 6 years, I don't know, but I know I'm going to hear in 6 years, first year Kaiju, first year Tech Mobile, whatever the insert is. Like, am I missing out on the opportunity now? Am I like when's but I agree with you, there's going to be a dip.
Yeah.
I think that you're only missing on the opportunity if you don't take advantage of the cycle of the product. If you want to buy a couple of Kaijus, or like for me, I want to buy at least one, if not a couple of those Tecmo Bowl.
Those look sick.
They're awesome.
so cool.
But I'm going to wait 2 months before I even think about it. Once everything settles,
or
then grab it and hold it long play.
There's going to be 2 or 3 higher end football products that drop for 2025 in the next 2-3 months. They don't have that much time to get these out. So there's going to be a level of saturation with that rookie class. So I would wait a minute on some of that if you're trying to buy it wherever the established value is going to land for a little.
So let me ask you, because I just had a conversation with a gentleman in the room who actually hit one of the Tecmo Bulls. Yeah. He hit the Patrick Mahomes one.
Oh, that's nasty.
Do you sell it now raw, or do you gamble and try to get a 10 on it? Because what's the market going to be like in maybe 15, 20 days when you get it, whatever level you go with? Where's the market going to be? Is it going to be higher raw now, or is it going to be lower with a 10?
You are talking to 2 guys who believe very firmly that you can never sell something too fast. Like we are all about velocity. Like I don't see a world where that is a card that makes sense to grade.
I'll push back there only.
Let me rephrase. You push back after. Let me finish my thought, and then you can push back.
I want to agree with the full thought. I want to disagree with that.
What I'm saying is, sell that Mahomes right now. If you want a grade one, buy another one in 2 months for 40% less than what you sold yours for, and then grade it, and there's your upside, and it's built in. You're still pocketing a little bit from it.
Here's my argument to it. Look at the Cooper Flag Topps Chrome rookie. I know it's a completely different ball game altogether. The first, or even I think it was also the Drake maybe the first PSA 10 to market when I think it was Cooper Flag was going for just some stupid money.
Yeah.
What's going to sell more? The first raw to market, like then you put your premium, whatever 2x, whatever number you want to go with. What's the first PSA 10 going to get to? Because I think probably in the next month or two, you're going to start seeing a lot of these new, well, I know we're switching terms here, but top term basketball cards that people send in for bulk are going to start hitting the market.
Yeah.
What are those going to do?
Right.
What's the first LeBron James? I agree with you entirely, but just from the jump, what's the first pro Topps Chrome in a pro union LeBron James PSA 10 silver Ray Wade, whatever number you want to go with?
Yeah.
What's that going to do? Is it going to outsell the 2x multiplier from what the raw ones did? We're using the wrong card, but you get what I'm saying. That's all I'm getting at.
I think it's the timing is it. So it's like if you had the confidence that you're going to be the first to market, great. If 5 PSA 10s pop before yours,
you're screwed.
Whoops.
Yep.
Yeah, you better go walk through, and
now,
you better be sure it's going to gem because that walkthrough's going to cost you $2,000.
But Mahomes is the right. This was my pushback. If there was a quarterback right now that I think has a good bit of upside going into the season, just because it's like recency bias with his market, I think it's him. I think if there is a quarterback that's going to see a little love in general, their whole market going into August, September, I can't imagine that he's not one of those. So timing's everything if you're going to play that game. If you're going to send it off, go express. Can I afford to send this to be sure I'm the first one to market?
What
But
did
if
you
not,
with walkthrough? How much did you say that is right now?
Depends on the card. It's going to be anywhere from what, 2 to 10, right?
So that was, I don't. You probably saw it. There's a Kaju Brady up right now
Yeah.
on eBay. I posted it yesterday.
Yep.
How much money? I don't know who it is, and if you're watching, I'm sorry, but like, how much money did you spend to get that card back in
A
3
lot.
days?
A lot.
well, if you want to put a tinfoil hat on, I think there's some relationships that move these things along a little quicker for people. But
Fair enough. But because I think it was at 17 grand, I have no idea what it's going to end at. But I made a comment like you must have been you're going to eat into your profit because let's call it 5 grand. I don't know what it's going to go for, but maybe 20% of your sale price is going to be,
yeah,
or maybe it goes for 50. I have no idea,
Yeah.
but I think it'd be better if it was in a Patriots uniform. But that's just my.
Well, it's just that whole Topps Chrome market has been wild to watch. I told Marcus and Noah, we've been on this cruise ship, and I was talking to them, and I was like, I'm kind of glad I wasn't here for this insanity because just watching it from afar has been absolutely wild.
yeah,
Like,
Gary gets on a boat, and then we have the Fanatics credit card that drops.
Oh,
We
God.
have PSA action. The what is it?
The
The
lawsuit.
antitrust lawsuit that drops. Topps Chrome football was a disaster for LCS direct accounts, and the rebuy. So
yeah, it was a lot, but like watching some of this stuff, like another room that I know you're into is called Old School, and I like the
Yeah,
room.
yeah.
But watching some of the offers that have been made that people have said no to has, I mean, like eighth year. I know it's first year Topps Chrome license for 15 years, whatever, but like some of the 5-figure offers that people are saying no deal to
Yep.
on like third tier players is just wild behavior. I'm like, what do you think you're gonna get for this?
I love Gary and I love that room, but the one thing I love most with that room is it reminds me of port. That whenever I get on that room and I see a monster, I'm like, yep, there's no shit. I'm like, oh, and then they turn down 80 grand. I'm like, God damn.
What? Yeah, exactly.
It must be nice to say, no, I don't need that $80,000 for this piece of plastic right here.
Yeah,
It's got some
exactly.
cute dude on, like, oh my God.
It's wild, but you've seen it with this Topps Chrome stuff. I know that the eBay market on the low end side of it has just, if it's a color right now, it doesn't matter who it is. It's going to get $5.
you don't know.
Like,
I have major FOMO. So Durkee, I made the shift out. I was doing high volume, but mostly low end. And it got to the point where Gary and I'd get back from a weekend show. I had 2 days of shipping. I couldn't do anything for 2 days.
For eBay?
Like it was just, yes, for eBay. So I pulled way, way back. I'm having some success with live selling. But man, if I was sitting on some of that, like I would be putting base up right now because it's so expensive and scarce. I would be putting base rookies up and they would be flying. So I'm missing out on the fun with that. But
We, like Gary and I thought this before, we probably buy very similar when it comes to larger deals with the price per card situation. Like, I know probably come Father's Day time frame, maybe even this weekend because I'm setting up at a show. We'll have a bunch of base. It's like, what do I pay for it? Like, what? It's cool to own, but it's like you look at a Prism card now. As long as it's not the big rookie, it's a dime, 30-cent card, whatever you want to pay per card.
yeah,
And then I'm going to offer it to somebody. It's like, no, every card sells for $4. Like, well, I can't. I'll talk to you in 3
sorry.
months. Like,
yep.
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
that was you. You posted a box. You do this occasionally in Sick, where you'll just post a 4-row. You posted one a couple of days ago, and Will tagged me, and I have no idea what was in the box. It might have been the greatest value in the history of the world, but I did the math on the price per card and went, nope, doesn't work for me. That's all.
and
That's
that's
all I
exactly
looked
what I
at.
priced it. That's exactly I priced it at $4 a card.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was 3. I forget how many. I forget. Actually, it's sitting right over there. But that's you and I buy very similar. It comes out.
Yeah.
I look at a box because I don't when I'm thinking about whatnot. I look at it as I might lose money on this card. I might make money on the next card, but I need to figure out what I'm into essentially every card for, especially
Yes.
when they're all the same value. No, one might be a $2 card, one might be a $5 card, but when you go to Whatnot, if I have 30 people in the room, 29 of them might hate Tracy McGrady, but I get that one or two guys that like Tracy McGrady. Now that Tracy McGrady number card is going to go from $2 to $8. All right, well that helps
Yep.
me out math wise. I'll lose money on the next Jackson Dart, and
Yep.
that's where I like eBay more, because now I can put them all up. Say, all right, $8 a card. Make offer. All right, $6 for the Ron Acuna, $7 for the Tracy McGrady. Draymond Green goes for $6, and it moves. The other side, though, that I like with eBay is the under 20 thing. That is my perfect wheelhouse, because you're guaranteed that money no matter what. You know, we talk about reputation and sketchy stuff within the hobby. You put a card on eBay and it sells for $25. I ship it to Gary. Gary gets it, says, hey, this card's beat to shit, or, you know, he's not happy with the condition. I got to make it right. You send a card, you get $18, and it sends off in their new envelope program, and it gets to Gary, and he's like, it never showed up, because let's just say it happens all the time. You still get that money as a seller through their insurance policy. Whereas that's why I like the under $20 stuff, because I know as soon as you pay me for that card, I'm getting that money 95% of the time, as long as it doesn't get complete, like the plane doesn't crash. So I like that part of it. So that's why we had 115 cards that sold that we had. Well, not me, my wife had to ship last night. Love her, thank you.
Shout out Rachel.
Exactly. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be able to do anything.
I give you hell all the time. It's always Team Rachel. I hashtag it every.
You know, going back to reputation, stuff like what we talked about earlier. When I meet people, if she's next, she's the first person I make sure that they meet as well, because no lie, if she wasn't there, nobody would get half their stuff. Like, you're like, oh, you ship on time. No, she ships.
she does.
Like, I print the label, but she actually runs it. Like, she does all that stuff for me, which I'm grateful for. But she deserves that credit, not me.
Well, that might be a good segue into this last thing we wanted to talk about. And I made sure before we put this on the list that I talked about. So if you're watching this is not me springing this on Ryan at all. So you talked about losing your dad a few years ago. My dad's been gone for 16 years now.
Yep.
So I've been through that, and I remember you going through that, and then shortly after that, you became sober. And I noticed a big shift in you and how you interacted with people. Like, what kind of was the impetus for that? And then how has the hobby helped that journey or hurt that journey? Like, what has that all been like for you?
The biggest thing for me with going sober, this is not a joke, but it's meant to be funny, that there's 24 hours in a day, 24 hours to do business. Because when I was drinking, you know, it was basically card for 2 hours and then beer for whenever I can go to bed. As far as how it helped me in the hobby, financially, obviously that improved as well, but more the people. You know, you can now talk to somebody, and, you know, you're not worried about that type of stuff, like the drinking and getting all that. I can actually connect with more people. So out of everything, that's the one thing. Like, I can actually talk to somebody and remember it the next day. That is huge for many things. Like, and also with Whatnot, going back to it, I don't gamble as much on, you know, breaks and repacks and all that type of stuff. So, the sober part of me, like, everyone knows him, Bobby Frazier, phenomenal guy. There's a photo on Facebook somewhere, whatever, him and I meeting at the National one time, and it's me behind the table, and there's 13 Bud Light cans on the table. And then I ran into him at the National last year, which I had just passed a year and a half sober. And I won't say exactly what he said to me, but what he said to me just hit me. And I know he's not the only one, in that there's actually people out there that care about you, even though you maybe never met them. There's 1,000 horses behind you that actually give a shit about your life. And I can see it. And that is just amazing. I'm going to get emotional. Like,
That's okay.
It's okay, man.
It's a big part of my life that I'm just very, very, I'm glad it's behind me.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good thing. I mean, you said earlier, like being able to remember things the next day. There were legit times, and you know this. I would message you something, and you would see it, and you would respond, and the response was usually, "Okay, I'll get to that," and then like 3 days later, now that I messaged you back, what were we talking about again?
Yep. No, absolutely. And it's just a much clearer, and it makes it more enjoyable because you meet somebody that you've never met before at a show, and you can actually connect with them. Like, not to get on a tangent, but I think that part is massively missing within the hobby, the relationship side of it. It's way too much transactional now.
Oh,
Whereas I'd rather you not buy a card from me, but I'd rather know, not like everything about you, but know, hey, your son plays baseball, you had a great day, you got a hit, whatever.
Yeah.
That side outruns any amount of money that you could ever make in this hobby. Because
we talk about it all the time. I tell people I would much rather you not buy or sell something from me
100%.
or to me and walk away feeling good about the interaction that we had, and then we get a shot at it the next time, than you buy or sell something to me and walk away going, I don't feel good about that.
Yep.
At all. Like the relationships definitely matter, especially when you're trying to do this for a living. This is something we tell our listeners, because this, a lot of our listeners are other dealers or people who are aspiring to be. And a percentage point or two here or there is not worth the long-term relationship at all. You're going to do so much better working with people and making things two-way streets and helping each other than you ever will trying to squeeze an extra 2% out of one deal. Because all that does is put somebody a bad taste. It tells me when I'm buying, if the first thing you say to me is, well, what percentage do you pay? Well, all I know is that if the next guy says 1% more than me, you're never coming to me again. And it doesn't matter how much I've taken care of you or how much money I spent with you or whatever else. So yeah, I'm with you there.
It's like you go to a show and just being in a wheelchair, it's amazing how many people actually literally walk right into me because they're down looking at their phone. Like they're just staring at their phone, not even looking up because they're trying to comp the car that they just looked at. It's like, well, just talk to them. Like, just like you can ask, like that guy on the other side of the table will tell you what it comps for. He knows, but you're afraid to ask him. Like,
well, and I tell people, I've gotten to the point where I'm starting to become the grumpy old dealer at shows.
Hold on, time out.
What?
Hold on, starting.
Oh, easy now. I've wanted, like, if the first thing somebody does when they want to look at a card is they start saying, well, I just stop them. Like, guys, I have a sticker on the card. Just make an offer.
What do you think?
I don't need you to give me your rationale for it behind 7 different things. Just, what are you thinking? If I can do it, I'm going to say yes. I'm not going to ask for $5 more. I'm not going to try to negotiate 7 ways from Sunday. I'm here to sell cards, not show and tell them.
Right.
But like, just make an offer and then we'll go from there. Like, I don't get that.
That is one of the, I had a great conversation with the guy at the mall show last week. If you vend every weekend or you vend 3 weekends a year, 95% of the guys that are coming up to your table to buy cards are buying to flip. They're buying to make, they're sending it to another repacker. They're doing whatever they want to do. So you can either, and I've been this way too, I am this way with certain cards, firm on your number, like that niche cards. I'm firm on those. But those dime a dozen, pop 7,500 cards,
take them.
Take them, exactly. If I'm, hopefully I bought it at 70, 80, whatever percent in a larger deal. You want to give me 92, 88. I don't give a coot about what the number is. If A plus B or A minus B is more than what I paid for it, have the card, because I know if I give you a good deal, when I get 150 more of those exact same level of slabs, you're coming back to see me before you go to anywhere else in the show. And it's like, all right, well, you gave me $3,000 in cash this show. Maybe next show and I have more. Now it's 6. Now I'm like, all right, every show I go to, if you're going to it, no matter what, when the doors open, I got an extra X amount of grand to then restock throughout the whole show. And I'm not grinding out the $10, $15, $20 extra.
Yep.
Because I want to have fun.
Well, and it's that whole, the way I say it is there's plenty of cards in my showcases that we can both make some money on. There's a few that I'm making the money on.
Yep.
That's just how it is. If you want those cards, that's kind of the price, or real daggone close. Everything else, if it makes sense, my goal, my job, the hardest part of this job is buying.
Yep.
My goal is to buy things right enough that what number you throw at me, I feel good about and you feel good about.
Yep.
So
I had the exact same thing with our display case. There's like 40 cards that everything else will be easy, my man. These ones, you're probably not going to like me, but
yeah,
we'll figure it out.
If it says Tom Brady on the front, you're not going to like me. I know what that showcase looks like.
Pretty much.
All right. So I told you before we started the interview, there's one question we ask everybody, and you've had an hour to maybe roll it around in your head here. So if somebody's wanting to jump into the world that you live in, which is running a good sized Facebook group that you've built a brand with, and then launching an eBay store, getting into the business side of this world in the way that you did, what would you tell them? 1, 2, 3, 5, whatever things give them the best chance to be successful?
Most importantly, honor your word. Stay with treating people right. Make sure that you should do the basic stuff the right way. But in all honesty, stay humble, because in this world you can lose it in 5 seconds if you do the wrong thing. So just take care of people, and you'll get rewarded on the back end side of it. But never take it for granted, because we live in a world where you make one mistake, you can lose it all in a heartbeat, and that's whether you deserve to or not, really. So just be mindful of what you're doing, and make sure you're taking into account what other people are thinking, and be respectful of them. And don't put the money first, put the people first. That's really it. That's probably as corny as it can possibly get, but
that's good, man.
I mean it entirely.
Yeah,
The relationships outlast the money more than anything in the world.
Yeah,
But
I agree. Okay, I guess the last thing we got here is the floor is yours. Where can the people find you? We've been talking about the Facebook room, but throw the spiel out. The Facebook, the eBay, the whatnot. Where can people find you if they want to interact with you, buy from you, sell to you, all that good stuff?
So Facebook, 6 Sports Cards. I think my name shows up in here, but Ryan Durkee. Send me a message there. We can figure it out. eBay, Cards on Wheels. I am really cool. So the cards is actually with a Z. Yeah.
1997.
Exactly. Yeah, that's when I was really cool. I do have an Instagram, 6 Sports Cards 3582. I check it every now and then, but honestly, I'll be at the National. I'll be any local show in New England. I'm at least one day for the most part. But Facebook's probably the best way to get a hold of me, and then I give out my phone number to everybody, so I won't blast it here, but I prefer to communicate that way just because it's real life. On my phone, it's on all day long.
Yep.
Versus there's 9,000 different apps, or Whatnot, actually. Sorry, Whatnot as well, 6 Sports Cards.
Awesome.
But yeah, that's where you meet me.
Well, we appreciate you taking some time with us today, Ryan. This is one that I started asking you about a few months ago. I'm glad we were finally able to get it on the schedule.
You guys,
make sure you give Ryan and Sick a follow, y'all. Yeah. Thanks again, man, and we will see you at the National.
Yes, sir. Take care, guys.
Thanks.
All right, so be sure to check out all the different platforms that Ryan mentioned there, whether it's the eBay store, whether it's the Facebook group, or just hit him up on a profile. But I really appreciated his ability to kind of share his story on the business side, but then also to just share his heart about what he cares about. And I don't know, I haven't spent as much time with him as you have, Gary, but it's really clear to me that he means what he's saying.
Yes.
About those relationships and community. So be sure to give him some love. Go follow him. Go check out the eBay store. I do know the man buys a lot of cards, so it's definitely worth seeing what hits the store as that's scaling out. Let's give everybody a quick reminder what we got going on. So as this episode drops, I am flying from Vegas to Indy to meet Gary. I should land right at 3, or I should land at the facility at 3. So right when it's starting up, we will be in Noblesville, Indiana at the Miller Time Show. I know we had mentioned Northgate before. That was on the calendar. This is, as we shared, there've been some larger shows, more regional. We're branching out. So heading back to Indiana. for that one this week. So be sure to come hang out. If you're catching this Friday, we're there this evening, and then Saturday as well. Whatnot every Sunday at 4:30. So be sure to take advantage of that. Anything else, Gary?
No, I think that you nailed almost everything there. Make sure that if you haven't yet, hit that little like button down here, hit that subscribe button over here. It helps us a ton. You guys are going to see some really cool stuff happening over the next few weeks. New partnership that we have solidified. So you're going to see some presence there on the pod. We're excited about. Other than that,
That it?
I think that's it.
This has been the Ballcard Show, the sports podcast.
For the Sports Collector.
Bye now.
Peace.